was similar to the one where he had been confined before. It had the same rind-covered wooden walls and no stove. The cell was crammed with prisoners. With difficulty, Trofimov found a place sitting next to a thin old man with a half-bald head and a wrinkled, frost-bitten face. Maybe the man merely looked old. His eyes were sharp, and he had the vigor and strength to maintain his place in the crowd. Trofimov thought he had seen the man before, but couldn't recollect when or where. The old man noticed Trofimov's glance. "May I introduce myself, young man?" The old man broke the silence. His voice was that of an educated person. "Sure," Trofimov replied indifferently. "It seems to me I've seen you somewhere before." "You're right, sir," the old man said. "I'm a tool carrier in Gusev's work team. You're from his brigade too?" "Yes, I am." "First of all, I want to thank you," said the old man. "What for? Sure you aren't mistaking me for someone else?" "Not at all. I remember you. A month ago, you stood up for my very good friend. God rest his soul. The old man fell, and the screws beat him. You intervened on his behalf, and as a reward, you got 2 weeks in the black hole. That man was my old cellmate from the Fortovo jail in Moscow." "I see," Trofimov smiled. "But you praise me too much. All I did was ask them to let me and the pal bring him back to the compound. That bastard Makarov finished him off. I never tried to shield him with my own chest." "Nevertheless," the old man insisted, "what you did was an act of heroism. You know the 2 laws of the camp. You die today and me tomorrow. And the second one, pardon the language, if they don't fuck you, don't lie down and ask for it. Those are the rules. And only an idiot or a hero takes the part of another person. But that's precisely what you did, and quite recklessly so." The old man lowered his voice. "You are rather a reckless guy altogether. Just now, for instance, talking to me, a complete stranger, you called Lieutenant Makarov a bastard. I heard you before, talking like that about camp bosses. Don't you know that there are stool pigeons in the camp? The Soviet Criminal Code has special articles about insulting Soviet officials." Trofimov wondered about the old guy, who hadn't even told him his name, but lectured him about camp behavior. Is he to be trusted? "Well," he sighed, "I don't care anymore." "You mean you don't care about living anymore?" "Why should I? I'll soon follow your friend. I'll fall down and some screw will finish me off. If they shoot me now for anti-Soviet propaganda, that'll be a favor. I'm not afraid of death. I have no future in this place other than to kick the bucket. Every day brings nothing but suffering. What have I got to fear now? Well, replied the old man, that might be a reasonable sentiment. If the worst thing you had to fear was a shot in the back of your head. You mean they could rip my guts out first? Yes, in a manner of speaking. They could keep you in the black hole for a month with nothing but a tiny punishment ration. Or they could send you to Aratukan and stick you in a special tent jammed with people, with no heating and the frozen ground for a floor. They keep them there till they snuff it. Then they just stick the corpses outside like a pile of wood. Hell, exclaimed Trofimov. It's like Auschwitz all over again. Exactly. There was a Jew here, from Lvov. He survived the concentration camp at Treblinka. After the war, he was swept up in the purges in West Ukraine and found himself here. He said he saw no difference. There, they used the gas chamber. Here, they have other methods. Trofimov shivered. All this was beyond his imagination. Even after being interrogated and tortured in that dungeon, somehow he had assumed that death by shooting was the worst thing to fear. But it turned out there were many more, far more appalling things. What, you bastard? Not afraid of death? Then try a load of this. The old man looked Trofimov in the eye. It looks like I've upset you. Maybe I can bolster your spirits with something more positive. He thrust his dingy brown hand inside his pea jacket and produced a small paper package. He opened it with a neat twist of the finger and thumb. It was a packet of twist, black shack tobacco, in short supply in the camps. Trofimov had last smoked almost a month ago. This was the kind of small miracle that every convict craved. Trofimov often saw prisoners begging for a couple of drags on a home-rolled cigar. And here was a whole pack of the stuff. How do you get it past the screws? Let that be my little secret. Sometime maybe I'll tell you. For now, help yourself to a cig. You're welcome. Trofimov took the cigar, which the old man lit for him, and inhaled deeply. Blissful euphoria swept his hunger-crazed senses. It didn't matter whether the old man was a friend and well-wisher or just another stool pigeon. At that moment, he was a man who gave him a new taste of life. Thank you, he smiled. I think it's high time we were introduced. I need to know the person I have to thank. My pleasure, sir. I'm Vladimir Semyonovich Ganin, a surgeon. That is, a former surgeon, you understand. The old man proffered his hand. Alexander Trofimov, infantry captain. Your patronymic, Ivanovich.